Beaumont Hamel, November 1916. The skeletal remains of a German soldier outside a trench dugout. The war moved on. He stayed behind. Andes Mountains, October 1972. Wreckage of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. 16 survivors endured 72 days before rescue. Chicago, 1948. A mother offers her children for sale due to extreme poverty. She hides her face in shame. 1948. A boy watches television for the first time through a shop window, a new world glowing behind glass. St. Augustine, Florida, 1964. A hotel owner pours acid into the swimming pool while black patrons swim. Segregation enforced by cruelty. Crimea, January 1942. Grigory Berman finds the bodies of his wife and children, victims of Einsatzgruppe D. The Hassanlu lovers, discovered in Iran, 1972. They perished around 800 BC, found locked in what appears to be an embrace. Sylacauga, Alabama, 1954. Anne Hudges became the only recorded human to be struck by a meteorite. She survived. Kimberley, South Africa, 1954. A radiologist checks a miner's stomach for swallowed diamonds. Trust was not part of the job. Quang Ngai, March 16, 1968. Two Vietnamese boys huddled together on a road during the My Lai massacre. Moments later, they were gone. London, 1945. A boy clutches a stuffed animal amid the ruins of German bombing. He lost both parents in the raid. United States, 1908. Children heading to a 12-hour night shift. No childhood, just labor. Coney Island, 1904. Human beings on display in a zoo. Entertainment at the cost of dignity. The survivors of the 1972 Andes plane crash. 72 days in the mountains. 16 walked out alive. The last photograph of Nikola Tesla, 1943. A mind that lit up the world, fading in silence. The Gadget, 1945. The first atomic bomb. Before Hiroshima, before Nagasaki. This is where it began. Dallas, November 22, 1963. Jackie Kennedy, moments after realizing her husband had been shot. A Secret Service agent rushes to help. 1947. A man's back covered in flash burn scars from the Hiroshima bomb 2 years earlier. The heat was strong enough to sear skin instantly. Lee Harvey Oswald's possessions after the assassination of President Kennedy, November 22, 1963, collected by police, a search warrant visible in the frame. Hollow Horn Bear, a man from the Brule Native American tribe, 1907, a portrait of dignity in the face of a vanishing way of life. Blackwell's Island, New York, circa 1888 to 1898. An inmate seated inside a prison cell doorway, photographed by Jacob Riis. Washington, D.C., July 7, 1865. The scaffold scene during the fate of Lincoln assassination conspirators. Witnesses gathered in the yard. Mexico, 1867. Emperor Maximilian I, photographed in his coffin after facing a firing squad. Forsyth County, North Carolina, circa 1894. An outdoor gallows structure near the county poorhouse. Thomasville, Georgia, early 1900s. Chain gang prisoners and guards posed in front of a wooden building. A ward for women in a British mental hospital. Rows of beds, patients confined inside. Carleton County Jail, 1895. A prison cell. Bare walls, iron bars, no comfort. A man in a restraint chair, photographed by H. Clark, 1869. Standard treatment for mental patients at the time. Free movement after Halsted's breast surgery. Early medical photography documenting recovery. Iron lung ward at Rancho Los Amigos Hospital. Patients sealed in metal cylinders. Polio kept them alive but trapped. 6 images showing plastic surgery progression on a World War I soldier with severe facial injuries. Likely Walter Yeo, treated by Dr. Harold Gillies in 1917. North Pownwell, Vermont. Child labor at a cotton mill, photographed by Lewis Hine. Migrant mother, Nipomo, California. Photographed by Dorothea Lange during the Great Depression. The face of American hardship. Laura Nelson and her son, victims of racial violence in America. A dark chapter of injustice. Mid-20th century, an African-American man drinking from a colored water fountain. Jim Crow in action. Little Rock, Arkansas, 1957. Crowds protesting integration as black students attempted to enter school. Paris, 1914. Refugees from Belgium fleeing German invasion during World War I. Mühldorf, a dockhouse subcamp. Rows of wooden huts in a camp setting. Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, a memorial site where thousands were laid to rest together. Hiroshima aftermath, aerial view of a flattened city with a river and scattered structures remaining. Large plumes of smoke rising from a dock area, buildings and water in the foreground. Utah, people gather at a graveyard for victims of the Schofield mine disaster, one of America's deadliest mining accidents. Stillwater, New Zealand, memorial site where 33 victims of the Brunner mine disaster were laid to rest. A crowd with umbrellas gathered around overturned train cars in a rural area, aftermath of a rail accident. Chicago, February 1931. Unemployed men lined up outside a soup kitchen opened by Al Capone during the Great Depression. New York City, 1935. A man lying on a pier during the Great Depression. No work, no home. Fremantle Prison, 1909. Entrance to the main courtyard. Inmates walked through here. Most never walked out. Ramla, Israel. Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann walking in the yard of his cell at Ayalon Prison, awaiting trial for crimes against humanity. Sewing class at Bryant School, later renamed Warrington in 1927. Young girls learning skills that would define their futures. Lodz, Poland, during World War II. Polish civilians, mothers and children, displaced by German occupiers. Funeral procession of Emperor Franz Joseph I, the end of an era for the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Washington, D.C., the scaffold in use during the fate of conspirators. Crowd gathered in the yard, viewed from the arsenal roof. A mugshot of criminal Pugsy Hurley, one face among many in the archives of early law enforcement. U.S. border. A guard stands on one side, Mexicans behind the fence on the other, a line dividing lives. Seacliff Psychiatric Hospital, circa 1926. Men seated on benches watching a cricket game on the playing field, designed by Robert Lawson. India. A family, victims of famine, starvation captured in a single frame. Lanzhou, China. Famine victims at Zhongshan Bridge, hunger that claimed millions. Luverne, Minnesota. August 19, 1918. German-American farmer John Meintz was tarred and feathered by masked locals during anti-German hysteria of World War I. North Sea, World War I. Battleships of the Grand Fleet patrolling the waters, the Royal Navy guarding British interests. Morfettville Racecourse, August 29, 1914. Recruits of the 10th Infantry Battalion doing basic training. Alexander W. L. McNeil enlisted here as a private. Marcelino Serna, the most decorated veteran of World War I, a Mexican immigrant who became an American hero. Newcastle, Washington, circa 1885. A mining town built on coal. Communities rose and fell with the industry. King County Courthouse Courtroom, circa 1885, where justice was served in early Washington state. A rare photograph of Perdil Khan, Sakowist politician and military leader in Afghan history. Nagasaki, August 9, 1945. The mushroom cloud rises after the atomic bomb, taken from the northwest. USS Franklin, March 19, 1945. The aircraft carrier under attack during World War II. Over 800 crew members lost their lives that day. 3 women wearing a kang in China circa 1900. A portable wooden stalk carried around the neck for public humiliation and punishment. Old Joseon Courtroom in Korea, 1910. A robed magistrate over kneeling defendants. Japan used images like this to portray Korean justice as outdated. A Boxer Rebellion prisoner in Tientsin, China, photographed by French forces during the conflict. Maud Stevens Wagner, 1907, America's first known female tattoo artist, former circus aerialist who learned tattooing from her future husband using stick and poke method. A Victorian bathing machine rolled into the sea, used to preserve modesty as women entered the water away from public view. Hired dippers assisted bathers into the waves. Bell engineer Harold Graham demonstrating the rocket belt jetpack at Fort Bragg, 1961. 21 seconds of flight time. Prosthetic eyes, ears, noses, and face parts at 3rd London General Hospital. Early plastic surgery items used to conceal facial injuries during World War I. The Dynasphere, a petrol-driven mono-wheel vehicle tested at Weston-super-Mare, England, February 1932. Inventor John Archibald Purvis' son behind the wheel. A soldier sitting and cleaning mud off his rifle, Western Front. His beard suggests he had been in the trenches for several days. A boy holding a stuffed animal amid ruins after German aerial bombing of London, 1945. His mother, father, and brother all lost beneath the rubble. Early cotton factories in England employed very young orphaned children under severe conditions. The first Factory Act in 1802 aimed to protect them by limiting hours and banning night work. An American soldier at Military Hospital No. 5 at Auteuil, an American Red Cross nurse's aide, and a Boy Scout attending to his comfort. German prisoners walking behind barbed wire in the North African desert, June 2, 1942. French refugee children at Grande-Val, near Paris, living at an American Red Cross home during the First World War. A soldier writing what may be his final letter, World War I. A girl and her grandmother waiting in a schoolyard in Saint-Pois, Normandy, France, August 10, 1944. Refugees fleeing the final battle for Normandy. Nagasaki after the bombing, 1945.
An abandoned camp, once used to detain Jewish people and those who opposed the Reich. Empty now, silent now, the walls still remember. Auschwitz, Poland, circa 1947. a post-war photograph of the chamber where thousands took their last breath, preserved now as a reminder. Hamburg, Germany, 1942 to 1945. Aerial view of ruined buildings in the Eilbeck district. Royal Air Force Bomber Command. Entire neighborhoods gone. Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. The gate to war prison barracks. Double barbed wire fence. No way in, no way out. Belle Isle, Richmond. An unidentified malnourished prisoner of war. Photographed at U.S. General Hospital in Annapolis. His body tells the story. Austria. A starved Serbian prisoner of war. Photographed by an Italian. A record of suffering that words cannot capture. Dachau. Prisoners transported from another camp. They did not survive the journey. Their bodies lay where they fell. Sidi Rezekh, Western Desert, 1941. Battlefield remains scattered across the sand. What war leaves behind when the fighting stops. Ivalo, Finland. A burned village during the War of Lapland. An entire community reduced to ash and memory. Silent Cities, 1919. A typical British cemetery after the First World War. Rows of graves stretching into the distance. The true cost of victory. Bergen-Belsen, April 1945. A pile of shoes photographed after British liberation. Each pair belonged to a prisoner. Many never left alive. Dachau, newly liberated. Survivors searched through a pile of prisoner clothing, looking for something familiar, looking for proof someone existed. Courcelette, France, 1916. A destroyed church. Only 2 damaged walls remain among mounds of rubble. Complete obliteration. Richmond, 1909. The male orphan asylum at 1900 Amelia Street, where children without families were housed, for many, the only home they knew. Auschwitz I, the yard between blocks 10 and 11, a replica of the wall where prisoners faced their final moments, their remains taken to the crematorium. Warsaw, a destroyed vehicle at Marszałkowska and Królewska Streets, wartime wreckage frozen in place. Manitoba, Rookhurst School before it burned in 1941, once a meeting place for Christmas concerts and church services, all lost to flames. Cold places, silent places. The photographs remain because someone refused to forget. The Frame Diary. Subscribe for more.